Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala al-falah. Hayya ala al-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا والنساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم يغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. After praising Allah Azza wa Jalla and saying the peace and blessings upon our beloved Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we would like to give a very important reminder, starting with the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: إذا نظر أحدكم إلا من فضل عليه في ماله وخلقه فلينظر إلا من هو أسلف منه. In this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he said in a narration coming from Abi Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if any of you happen to look and see that someone has the fadl of Allah Azza wa Jalla, the favors of Allah upon them, in their money, they have more money than you. And he said that in their creation, in their appearance, you think they look better than you. He said, then look behind you. Wallahi, this is some tremendous advice. Tremendous. وفي رواية, in another version or narration من إمام مسلم from Imam Muslim قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ولا تنظروا إلا من هو فوقكم فهو أجدر أن لا تزدروا نعمة الله. هذا حديث متفق عليه. Collected by Imam Bukhari and Muslim. In the other version, the Prophet said, don't look at those who are above you, meaning they have more than you. You may think they look better than you. They have more children than you. In your mind, they're better. And it causes you to feel deficient. This is the purpose of this hadith. That we have this thing in us that we'll look at what other people have and it starts to make us feel deficient. He has a car and I'm walking. He has a wife and I don't. They have children and we don't. You start to feel deficient. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in this last statement, he said, don't look up at people because it may cause you to have a very low opinion, or you'll make what Allah has given you trivial. You'll make what Allah has given you like it's nothing. Because we're looking up at other people. It's a major problem. When we do this, as we mentioned, it causes some psychological illnesses. And that's what we're going to call them. One of which, a person starts to have low esteem. You start to feel bad about themselves. And people blame it on several different things. It could be his people, his condition, or I was raised in poverty, my family's not rich, or that family is rich. Hey, look at them, look at what they have. Some people blame it upon their stature, but some of us are taller, some of us are shorter. This is all from Shaitan. Some of us say it's because I'm black and he's white. It's because he's Arab and I'm not. It causes low self-esteem. In some cases it may cause, and this is forbidden, depression. Whereas the individual, we talk about the Muslims, and in actuality the Muslim should never be depressed if he has knowledge. He'll become depressed, or she'll become depressed and begin to stay in the house away from the masjid. In the month where they should be involved, in the month of Ramadan, you still don't see them because they're suffering from this illness of depression. Because they believe that other Muslims have more than what they have, so they stay away from them. Because when they see them, Shaitan tricks their hearts. He said, look at you, you're deficient. You're lazy. You're neglectful. And they become depressed. We find that the people begin to have a lack of motivation. They don't try to do better because of it. They hear one of the brothers in the masjid reciting a long surah, and he only has Qul Huwallahu Ahad. He said, look at me, I'm deficient. So he stops reading the Quran. He hears a brother and he has more knowledge than him. They don't look at these people as an encouragement. They don't say to themselves, he did it, I can do it. She did it, I can do it. Shaitan tricks them into feeling deficient. You say, and they come up with excuses. Oh, it's because he has more Arabic than me. But he's American like you. He learned from somewhere. He took the time and sat down. This is the problem with looking at those who are above us or ahead of us. It causes us to sit down and not do anything. It causes us to complain and come up with excuses. So the Prophet ﷺ said, don't do that. But rather look behind you. Look behind you? Yeah, because the person behind you is in a more difficult situation than you. You have Qul Allahu Ahad, he doesn't have it. So you have to look behind you. Yeah, Ikhwan. The Masjid had As-Sunnah. They said, indeed, when this happens, when we start to look at those who are above us or ahead of us, it removes us from being grateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla. It stops you from being grateful. Because you're looking at, look at his money, look at his kids, look at his car, look at his house, look at him, look what he has, look at him. And you start to forget about what Allah has given you while you breathe the air that Allah has given you, while you use the eyes that Allah has given you, while you're using the hearing that Allah has given you. You make all those things trivial. You push them aside. Shaykh Muhammad he said in one of his books, he said this type of attitude causes the believer to decrease in his good deeds, and it may cause him to be punished for not being grateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla for what he has. He said, and the proof is the statement of Allah Azza wa Jalla, where he said, وَإِذْ تَعَدَّنَا رَبَّكُمْ لَا إِنْ شَكَرْتُمْ لَا نَزِيدَنَّكُمْ وَلَا إِنْ كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابٍ لَشَدِيدٌ. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, and remember when your Lord proclaimed, remember when Allah said, if you are grateful, I'll give you more. So remember when Allah said, if you're grateful, I'll give you more? And whoever denies or rejects, meaning the favors of Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah said, Inna adabun shadid. Indeed, my punishment is severe. Subhanallah. So if we're not grateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla, showing gratitude is an act of ibadah, is an act of worship. But now the kayfiyah, how do we do this? How do we show Allah Azza wa Jalla that we're grateful for what He has given us, not for what He has given them? How do we show Allah Azza wa Jalla that we're grateful for what I have right now? I'm content with what I have. I'm happy with what I have. Can I strive for more? Tell I am. Of course. Because Allah Azza wa Jalla said, if I show Him gratitude, the azida nakum, He will increase it and give me more. But how do I show my gratitude? By increasing in your ibadah. You want to show Allah Azza wa Jalla that you're grateful for what you have? I'm talking about for those simple things that come to you every day without you making any effort, like your sight, like your life. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to do anything for it. Allah gives it to you. Fadl min Allah. This is a favor from Allah Azza wa Jalla. So how do you thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for what the Prophet ﷺ called the Habibatain, the two beloved things, your eyes? Because they help you out so much. How did you get here? You drove your car? How did you do it? You used your sight. How did you eat this morning? You used your sight. How did you kiss your wife and your children? You used your sight. How did you read the Quran before the Jumu'ah prayer? You used your sight. How did you do something so simplistic like go to the bathroom? Wallahi wa billahi, you used your sight. How did you make wudu? You used your sight. So how are you going to thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for seeing? How? By maintaining the Hamzah salawat, the 5 prayers. And then adding extra, standing up at night, showing gratitude to Allah Azza wa Jalla, thanking Him for what you have. You don't have to have what this other person has. Maybe that's a test on them. Looking at their wealth and their affluence, maybe it's a test. And Allah is not testing you with that which He's testing them with. Thank Allah Azza wa Jalla. but not to show gratitude to a Rabbul Alameen, he said, then know that my punishment is severe. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. The Shaykh, he then says, when we understand the statement of Allah Azza wa Jal, it shows that we have to, he said, wajib alayna. There's an obligation on us to accustom our tongues to thanking Allah Azza wa Jal. To accustom our tongue. If you have to accustom yourself to doing anything, wallahi, it means that you weren't doing that thing before. I don't know what people are thinking. If you have to accustom yourself, this means you weren't doing it before. If you're already doing it, he would have said, you have to continue. You have to maintain. He said, no, you have to accustom yourselves, because it's known that Banu Adam, we do not thank Allah enough. And we don't give Allah Azza wa Jal the type of gratitude that he deserves. So we have to accustom ourselves. You have to start trying to get up at night to make the hajj. You have to. 3 raka'at. And you can recite real short surah. You want to show Allah Azza wa Jal you're thankful. You can get up 15 minutes before Fajr and get it in. Come on, man. You can do 1 raka'at of witr. 1 raka'at. The most laziest Muslim should be able to do 1 raka'at. For what? Just to show Allah that I'm grateful. Without any qunut. I'm not going to make dua. I'm just getting up to show Allah that I'm thankful for what he gave me. The Prophet ﷺ, when good news used to come to him, or something good used to happen, he used to drop in sujood. This was the sujood al-shukr. It was the prostrating of thankfulness. You don't have to have wudu. You don't have to be facing the qibla. Something good happened, you just make sujood. And Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to increase whatever he gave you. I don't care about what the people have in front of me from among the Muslims. May Allah increase their good. May Allah give them more. Don't be concerned like that when you become depressed and you feel like you're lower than the dust. Especially when you have knowledge of qadr. Shaykh, he then goes on to say, he said, be thankful to Allah Azza wa Jal concerning all matters. Concerning all matters. He said, even when it comes to passing your bowels. He said, indeed, if you don't pass your bowels, your body will fill up with poison and you'll die. But it's adi, it's normal to go to the bathroom. But look how you start to panic when you become constipated. Panic. SubhanAllah. The reality comes. That you've been looking at going to the bathroom is something that just happens. No, it doesn't just happen. It happens by the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So we have to thank Allah Azza wa Jalla for all matters. The Shaykh goes on to say. He said, indeed, some of the people claim that they have jobs and their jobs is hard. It's a hard job. Can't stand this job. They make me work so hard. He said, but your hard job is the dream of the one who is unemployed. He said, some of the people complain about their annoying children. Children get on my nerves. Sit down. They won't sit down. He said, but your annoying children are the dreams of those who cannot have children. He said, some of us complain about our small house or our teeny apartment. I have no space. Some brothers live in one room. Some sisters, they only have one room. They live in a housing situation where it's a rooming house. And everybody has a room. And they complain about their little room. wish I had more space. He said, indeed, your little space, your little room, your little house is the dream of the one who is homeless. Some people complain about the small amount of money that they have. I don't have enough money. I can't meet all my bills. I can't meet all of my bills. Maybe that you're meeting some of them, and the others are being paid late. He said, but your little bit of money is the dream of the one who's in debt. The one who's in debt, he or she wished they had your little bit of money to pay off a little bit of bills. This is how ungrateful we are. And it comes because of social media. We've been made to think that we're supposed to live affluent. So everybody is living above their means, trying to meet the requirements that we see on YouTube, on television. We want to live the life of the rich and famous in the hood. It's crazy. So in order to make it nice, they call it like hood fabulous or ghetto fabulous. Oh, they try to make an ugly situation nice. You can't dress up a pig. It's still a pig. You can't put lipstick on it, spray it with perfume. It's still a pig. Still a pig. No, man. Live within our means, and we are happy for that which Allah has given us. I'm not living to attain the praise of somebody else. Oh, he balling. Look at what he driving. No, man, we're not doing that. Whatever a person has is because of Allah having favor upon them. And so make dua for them. And ask Allah to protect that thing. And do it in private so Allah will give you one. Because it's clear, whoever makes dua for his brother, right, and behind his back when he's not present, the angels will say, Ameen. They will say, Ameen, and may you have the same. When we pray for one another when we're not around each other, when we don't see each other, say, oh Allah, protect his car, protect his family, protect his job. Protect him. The angels say, Ameen. And may you have the same. And the next thing you know, you have a nice car. The next thing you know, you have a wife. The next thing you know, you're having children. There's a method. There's a methodology to this religion. We're not going to say it's a method to the madness, because this isn't madness. This isn't craziness. This is that sensible way of living. It's the proper way of going through life. Huh? Not worrying about what the person has here, worrying about what you have here in your own hands. And dealing and maintaining that. Not trying to show off. None of these things. Just trying to worship Allah and get to Jannah. And if Allah happens to bless you along the way, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. The Shaykh, he goes on to say, he says, so we see, insha'Allah ta'ala, that we should be from among the thankful to Allah Azza wa Jal in every situation. He said, because indeed, whoever is not thankful, Allah Azza wa Jal, he said, Allah Azza wa Jal, he said, وَلَا إِن كَفَرْتُمْ إِنَّ عَذَابَنَا شَدِيدٌ. And whoever doesn't show gratitude to Allah, he ignores it. You know, they use the word belie. He treats the situation like he doesn't have to, because he thinks his hard work, his working every day, that's how he got his car. His working every day, this is the reason why his bank account is so huge. He's not thinking that he's using the provisions from Allah. He's using his hands that Allah gave him. He's using the body, the heart, the lungs, the eyes, the ears. He's using everything that Allah has provided for him to attain what Allah has provided for him. So he's grateful. Ibn Kathir, he says concerning this ayah, he brings a hadith from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he said, إن العبد لا يحرم رزقه بذنبه يصيبه He said, indeed the servant commits a sin that deprives him of the risk from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Indeed the servant does some sin that prevents him from attaining his risk from Allah. What do you think it is? Zina? No. We think he lies? No. Riba or namima? No. The sin here is not being grateful to Allah Azza wa Jalla. Not showing Allah Azza wa Jalla that you're thankful. That's a sin. So whoever doesn't do it, he has prevented the provisions coming to him or her. You don't want to thank Allah? And we know that sometimes the companions would thank Allah Azza wa Jalla by giving sadaqah, by giving food to someone, by giving money to someone, giving clothing to someone. Or they increased in ibadah. And all of it is ibadah. But they would do more good, showing Allah Azza wa Jalla, I'm grateful for what you have given me. I'm thankful to avoid the punishment and being deprived of the risk from Allah Azza wa Jalla. So we ask that Allah Azza wa Jalla make us from among His grateful and thankful servants. Ameen. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam tasliman kathiran wa ba'd. Lastly, the Shaykh, he goes on to say, being unappreciative is based upon one's attitude towards life. What causes a person not to be thankful is attitude towards life in general. Huh? And see, attitudes are nurtured by what you know, or by what you think you know. Attitudes are nurtured by what you know, and how you understand things. SubhanAllah. So if you're looking ahead of you and you start to think this person has all of these things, you don't have nothing, and you're miserable, and you're good for nothing, and I'm low, then that's your knowledge. And that's why you think the way you do. SubhanAllah. Because your knowledge nurtures your attitude and your behavior. So this means that it requires that we learn. He says, so if you have knowledge of this deen, it will give you the proper attitude on life, which will give you the proper response to your life. SubhanAllah. If you have the proper knowledge, it will give you the proper response to your life. So that means we have to increase in knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And you know, people don't want to spend time to learn anything. And being ignorant has become dangerous. Being ignorant has become dangerous. And in this country, sidebar, they like you ignorant. They like you so ignorant that they give you icons instead of wanting the people to read. You know, they give you symbols. Iconology is called. You know, that's what you use on the computer. So instead of putting don't walk, they put a slash with a person walking. They put an X through it with a person walking. And you understand that as meaning don't walk. They don't want you to read. They want you to look at pictures. They want you to be iconic. How would we let them down? No, man, we have to read. You can't learn Islam like that. There's no icons. Forget about it. You have to start reading and understanding your religion because the knowledge is going to change and nurture your behavior. You want to be better? You don't become better by osmosis. And osmosis, that's another talk for another time. It's a real person. It doesn't happen like this. You have to pick up the Quran. You have to pick up the books on the Sunnah as it relates to Aqidah and Minhaj. How we should believe and how we should be acting. People don't want to take the time out when you say to them, what are the 6 pillars of Iman? And they start, can you imagine the Muslims philosophizing? The 6 pillars? Aqid, what are the 6 pillars? Well, you know, Islam came down at the time. I ain't asked you that. I asked you what are the 6 pillars? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I want. I don't want a philosophy. You see, if you don't have pillars, how are you going to hold the structure up? They're called pillars for a reason. For a reason. It's holding something up. It's holding up this deen. And if you have those pillars in your life, it's going to hold you up. It's going to strengthen you. From those 6 pillars is وَتُؤْمِنُوا بِقَدْرِهِ وَخَيْرِهِ وَشَرِّهِ, to believe in the qadr of Allah, the good and the bad of it. So when you look ahead and you see a brother or a sister who has more than you, who may be more handsome than you, who may be more beautiful than you, you say, this is from Allah's qadr. And He does whatever He wills. You don't get jealous. You don't say, how come I don't have that? You don't start feeling down about yourself. Why? Because you have knowledge. You have knowledge. And some people's handsomeness or beauty is a test on them. It's a test on them. Some people's money and what they amass of what is a test on them. So we praise Allah for whatever the people have in front of us. And we praise Allah for whatever the people don't have behind us. Because Allah Azza is giving you what you need. And maybe if you had what He had, you would end up in hell. Maybe if you had whatever he had or whatever she had, you would end up in hell. So you don't have it. And I'm content. It doesn't mean you sit down and say, listen, I only got $5 to my name. You say, how many left for my $5? Let me see if I can make 100. You strive, man. We did that talk already. But this looking at other people, particularly the kuffar, all the gold junk in their mouth, around their neck, pushing all types of different whips. Young boys understand that. We get hyped up. You see, this type of looking ahead can cause you to become desperate. This is the last thing. Looking at what other people have and what you don't have can cause you to become desperate. So desperate that you'll sin. You'll sell, you'll rob, you'll kill in order to have what you see. You'll sin in order to get it. It's the problem with looking at what other people have. You'll sin in order to get it. I don't care what I gotta do. Yeah. The Prophet said, if there's enough for one, meaning in meals, if there's enough for one, there's enough for two. It's just you and your wife. If you can work hard to have one meal that night, wallahi, it's enough. Yeah, it's enough. And the Prophet said, whoever has food for one day, housing, in a place to lay his head, if I'm not mistaken. He said that person is rich. You see, we're looking at the world through worldly glasses. We put on worldly glasses and we start to judge. Oh, I don't have this. I need that. I don't have this. Yeah, I gotta get one of those. And even if I gotta get involved in interest, I'll get it. I gotta have one. No, we have to put on Islamic glasses and start looking at the world from an Islamic perspective. And you'll start feeling better about yourself. You say, look, what I have is good. Because everybody's worrying about what they have. We need to go and read about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, she said we didn't have food for 3 moons. The only thing we had in our house, meaning the fire didn't burn in their house, for 3 moons. That's 3 months. She said the only thing we had in our house was the 2 black things, dates and water. Prophet sallallahu was content. Sometimes he used to get up and he would say to Aisha, what do we have to eat today? She said, we don't have anything. He said, okay, I'll fast. Content. The Prophet said, so he didn't have a bed. He had something on the floor that was made out of the palm leaves. Omar said he walked in on the Prophet and he sat up and he could see the imprint from the palm leaves on his back. On his back. He said, oh, Messenger of Allah, the kings are all over the world, in Rome, and throughout the world, they live in and sleep on big couches. And they got thrones. He said, you're the Messenger of Allah, are you living like this? He said, Omar, for them is the dunya, and for us is Jannah. You gotta put on Islamic glasses, man. And start being satisfied with what we have. And it doesn't mean you can't strive for more. But wherever you are, alhamdulillah, walhamdulillah, now you get with the sa'a and start trying to attain more. And everything that you're amassing of wealth and things in this world be a means to get you into Jannah. Get a nice car, alhamdulillah. If you can afford to bring brothers to Jumu'ah, bring them. That's how you show Allah that you're grateful for the car that He gave you. You got a lot of food in their house, you look in your refrigerator and say, man, I got so much stuff. Then come to the Masjid and give some food out. Now, I know a brother whom Allah blessed him with a garden, and he comes and he brings the stuff from the garden here to the Masjid and gives to me. Showing Allah, I'm grateful for my garden. And it just keep coming back more and more and more. So, Allah, look at. When you show Allah that you're grateful, He will give you more of that thing that you're showing Him the gratitude for. Got a lot of money? Give some out. Showing Allah that you're grateful. Now, so stop looking at what's ahead of us. Let's deal with the here and now. And if you feel bad, then look behind you. Because it's somebody behind us who doesn't have legs. It's somebody behind us who doesn't have sight. There's somebody behind us who don't have hearing. There's somebody, when you were driving here, you see them laying on the street as you left your house. Look behind you. And it will cause you to say, alhamdulillah, oh Allah, thank you for what I have. Even though I'm struggling trying to pay these bills, I thank you for what I have. Because it could be worse. We ask that Allah to make us from His grateful servants.
Allahu Akbar, Allah.